My name is Verbal, all the way live from Tokyo, Japan. Flew into Kuala Lumpur to DJ for the Heineken event. Got Filthy Dukes in the house. You know, we got my man Blink in the house, and, you know, it's going to be a crazy night. Well, I personally, for myself, as an MC, I've been influenced by, you know, like Run DMC. That's when I first started listening to hip-hop. And then I started listening to Gang Starr, NWA, and then I got more lyrical and I started listening to Company Flow, Kool Keith, and you could probably hear some of the influences there in my earlier works. For M-Flow, when I first debuted, you know, I like to get very lyrical, like kind of abstract and stuff like that. So, yeah, as of late, I've been listening to a lot of, you know, more beat-driven music. Like, I listen to a lot of Neptunes. I like what Kanye does, you know. So those are my direct influences. Teriyaki Boys has a lot of different producers. You know, we've had Daft Punk, like you said, Neptunes like Pharrell, Kanye, Jermaine Dupri, all types of people. But, you know, especially Pharrell and Kanye, they frequent Japan. So, you know, they would come to the studio when we're recording. And, you know, we would actually session together. So, I mean, definitely it was a phenomenal experience. I mean, you don't really get to go into the studio with Pharrell every day or Kanye every day, you know. And then, I mean, obviously, like, the experience itself was like a whoa. But then more than that, we got to see how they really work in the studio. I mean, sometimes you could go on YouTube and see how they session in the studio, but it's different when you're there. You know, you get to vibe with them. You know, they just come into the studio, you know. They just listen to the beat for like a few minutes. They're like, all right, let's go. And they just go into the booth. There's no lyrics, you know. They just kind of like go at it and then leave some classics behind. So, I mean, I was definitely in awe of their production skills and how they carried things out in the studio. Well, music was my hobby, and it's now professional. So, I mean, I guess like you know, I do jewelry. You know, this is all my stuff. I wear it myself. Basically, I make stuff that I only feel like wearing. So it's not really, you know, I don't know if it's like a, you know, a big brand or anything. But me and my wife, we just kind of come up with these fun designs that we feel like wearing, and what we feel like our friends might want to wear. Because we're right in the heart of the whole fashion scene in Tokyo. So we see a lot of people wear, you know, like thrift store goods, like in a cool way. Like we always see like new ways of, and new renditions of like how fashion can be interpreted. So, you know, being influenced by that kind of environment, you know, that's a hobby. Just looking at those kind of people and studying them, but putting it to shape, it's kind of like our next level hobby, you know, like we wear it, have our friends wear it. Yeah, so Ambush, this is called Ambush Design. You know, like back in 2001, when my group M-Flow came out with a second album, we had this big tour, you know, going around in Japan. On the final day, I was so hyped up, you know, I was on the mic and jumping up and down. I was getting closer and closer to the crowd, and I just fell off stage, like, so everyone thought I disappeared. And I had like a bruise on my arm and everything. So that was kind of like, I mean, it wasn't, I don't know if it was funny, but it was crazy. But because of that, you know, I don't know if people here really know a Japanese artist by the name of Amuro Namie. She's like kind of like the Beyonce in Japan, but she was watching the show and she thought I was funny for falling off stage. So that's where our relationship developed. You know, she'd feature me on her, on her like music and stuff like that. So, you know, I guess it was worth falling off stage. You know. I was studying like theology, you know. I like philosophy and theology and stuff. And when I used to go to college in the States, I used to go to Boston College. I had an opportunity to work in a juvenile detention center with a lot of troubled youth. And I realized that people like that, they have a lot of talent and driving energy, but then they just weren't directed right. That's why they would use their brains to steal cars or create some organized crime or something. But, you know, when I was there, I had a lot of passion for these kids, you know, like I wanted to reach out to them. I mean, not that I was any better than who they were, but, you know, I felt like I could share something with them so that they don't have to go that route. So, you know, I'm definitely like interested in becoming like an urban counselor or some kind of teacher, you know. Well, I personally think music is a calling for me. I mean, I love what I do. You know, I sleep talk about music, apparently. So, you know, I really like what I do. But, you know, it's something God-given, you know. I mean, I'm not going to be mad about it because everyone who loves music, just because you love music doesn't mean you can do it professionally. Hey, yo, shouts out from KL to the world. This is Verbal from M-Flow Teriyaki Boys. And you're on www.gizmoonline.com.my.